Okay, in this video we're going to create an Android application that has a simple button widget that opens up a second activity. So first we're going to add that second activity, and then we're going to add a method to the button widget, and that method is going to create an intent, and in this case it's going to be an explicit intent that we pass an argument, which is the context, and then the actual activity that we want to open up. And then we open up that explicit activity. Okay, so first I've created a new project, and it's got a main activity, and its corresponding layout is activity main. So I'm going to go ahead and add a button widget, and we will say, well, I'll just leave the ID as button, and in the text we'll say open second activity. Okay, so we've changed the text property of our button to open second activity. Now we're going to actually add our second activity. So we have one activity here, main activity. Let's add another. So I'm going to click on the right click on the app and select new activity, and I'm just going to add a blank activity. We'll give it a name of second activity. Notice it automatically labels the layout name activity underscore second, and I'm going to give it a title of second space activity, and we'll go ahead and click finish. Okay, so now we've got a second activity. I'm going to change this text view widget to say hello world from second activity. Alright, let's go back to our main activity now. And remember that we added our button object, or button widget. So now we're going to add some code inside of our main activity, which will, on click, open up that second activity. So first we're going to create a button object. And remember that we called our button object just plain old button. And we're going to call the method onClickListener so that we can add a method to the button's onClickListener. And we're going to add the method onClick, and inside of onClick we're going to create a new intent. Doesn't really make sense. I'm going to second activity intent. Sounds a little better. Okay, now this is an explicit intent, so we're going to pass it actually the application context. So we want to give it the current application's context. And then we're going to pass in a reference to the second activity class. So you can see it there. And then we're going to start our activity. So it's as easy as that. Inside of the onCreate method, we're going to create a button object in our code and reference the button that we added to our our main activity's layout. And then we're going to call that button setOnClickListener method to create a new onClickListener method. And we're going to define the onClick method. And what it's going to do is it's going to create an intent, or an explicit intent passing in two arguments, the context for our application and a reference to our second activity class. Then we're going to call the start activity method and pass in that intent. So let's go ahead and start our app up real quick. So here we have our main activity layout. You can see the button that we added. When we click on that button, it calls our second activity. Alright, that's it. Adding it using an explicit intent to open up another activity inside of our app. Thanks.